Feels like we're in a different dimension. Am I the only one that feels like we got radiated into a different plane of existence? Or have I just been on it, being a boss, cleaning my goddamn compound? While voices in my head are screaming, it's too late. We have days before it's over. And all my ex-girlfriends have started hitting me up. The girl I want, her personality has disappeared, and she's now completely different, which means she probably got piped. But check it out. Started cleaning. Outside looks nice. It's daytime. I'm a bit fucked up because I went out to charge my phone and there was immediately gang stalker, angry piece of garbage. I could feel him before I left the woods. And because I've been healing, I've been connecting more. So I'm still like, I'm here. But I don't know if everyone can do it or if it's something I can do or it's something with the day of the week. But maybe it's part of nature, being in nature. Uh, I can still, if I'm laying here, I can still see in my imagination, I can astral project naturally now over into the parking lot. And I'm fighting the vibes over there. And depending on how it goes, I'll hear cars start speeding. Like if I get a good vibe, all of a sudden there's a which makes me really think that we're all in our individual multiverses right now, connected by this technological artificial intelligence. But that's just a theory, probably a fake theory. But I'm here to talk about depression. Most of us are getting over depression, but a couple of us probably lagging behind. Like seasonal depression is over, the birds are back, the sun is out. People are just getting over their depression, but some of you haven't kicked your bad habits yet. So I just want to talk really quick about how to solve that before we move forward. Depression is feeling trapped. Depression, in most cases, is I'm a master teacher. Like this knowledge is just embedded in my system. It's just I have a lot of trauma that keeps it from coming out. Like if most of my relationships, like I'd have beautiful women, like the best of the best, tens of tens. I worked really hard to get buff and be a man of that can create positive moments and learning all these skills when I was younger from good mentors on YouTube, and I would just go on adventures all day and I would usually solve a lot of these big major issues, and then those girls would go on to have like 5 or 10 boyfriends after me that they would relay this information to. And that's 33 life path growing like a tree, the acacia tree, right? I'm spreading out across Vermont, which is a giant small town. It's a playground. And I get to see how my influence shines. Like the things I create come back to me. But depression is feeling trapped. I go through it a lot. Like, I feel like there's some type of system in the electromagnetic spectrum. You know how long I've been talking about that? How long have I been talking about there's a system that's controlling us that we're all a part of, and it's puppeting these people. And it attacks me because I'm good at using my energy to vibrate against it. With nature. Remember that was a theory that I'm like, am I schizophrenic? And everybody's in my comment section like, you fucking nut job. Guess what the government just released? They're raining down nanoparticles from the sky that sit in our skin, and it stimulates us so that they can control it remotely. So that the 5G towers, now that we have all these nanoparticles in our skin, embedded with us eating the microplastics from McDonald's that cut off our natural bacteria that work like a hive mind, all of our organs together. I might get killed for this. What's up? Hi, Susie. Sleeping in nature, we got this. Yep. Yeah, a lot of the things I talk about, because people are new, is I had a brain injury. I had a big spiritual awakening. I'm a 33 life path, which is like the people that invented astrology, the people that invented the Bible, the kind of like that hidden occult, the secret people, the psychics, whatever, the Illuminati, whatever. They have a system. They follow numerology and astrology, and they believe that when we come into this realm that you say you can manifest in, that realm, our souls have different purposes here because God is lonely. So he makes us and we have free will. But it's also like people that use their free will and they've gotten pretty good at hating God. It's like at the highest level, it's just a bunch of faggots with daddy issues. But but they're literally raining nanoparticles from the sky that get in our skin. They're trying to, I don't know if you can hear the birds, but as I move and as I talk, the birds start chirping different patterns and frequencies because I'm enmeshed with them. We're all in the same thing, so I like to get up. I've been clearing this. I just wake up and run around all day, and it's amazing. But then I go out into maybe like a half mile that way. There's a park and ride right off the highway, and it's a lot of heroin addicts. So I get to see the big duality, the big contrast, the big separation I'm in between nature and humanity, good and evil, good and bad, light and dark. That duality, like Casey, my name, C-A-S-E-Y, the C and the Y. I like the yin and the yang, and my dad's name is Gary. So you got that same shape. It's a grand design. We were made for a purpose. You have a purpose. And it's like embedded deep in the symbolism of everything that matters to you. It's like puzzle pieces. But usually what I talk about, it's just, I had a bad day with energy. My algorithm gave me a lot of, they're raining particles down to control you. They direct energy weapons to people that have a certain specific frequency in their brain. And then all of a sudden I'm getting like these cold chills in my gut. It's hard for me to flow the same natural way I do, but the birds that usually aren't here at this time of day, I think they're kind of onto what I'm feeling because they're here with me. And usually at this time they're farther down the mountain, but they're sticking around today. So the teaching is pretty simple. I don't know how many videos you've seen. Oh yeah, depression is feeling trapped. Once you gain a little bit of control over your life, which is just, it's called structure. Just deciding, kind of writing down simple habits that you want to change, simple things that you're going to do to better your life. It's like a little threshold you gain. Once you realize, your brain kind of wakes up that you have more control. It's like a bunch of switches get flipped all at once like dominoes, and you kind of come back into your body. When in the winter, when you're cold and you're kind of escaping, and you don't have your diet in check, and you don't have that same militant discipline to better your life, you could settle and unconscious daily habits take over, and then that's when you realize that your mind melted and you're just a product of your subconscious impulses, which I'm revealing, which could get me killed. Those are controllable by an artificial intelligence beaming down from space that monitors your biological signature. That's right. And the birds know about it. And they're also, swear to God, those cicadas that people are talking about, those cicadas in Ohio, down in Ohio, you know that the song? People are posting pictures of it, and they have a zombie fungus like the Last of Us, and it's like a cicada. It's flying around normally, things are working fine, but you hit it and it's completely been eaten alive by a fungus where only its brain and wings work, and it's just flying that cicada to a bird to to infect the bird, and then it's spreading. So I don't know what that's about, but AI, artificial intelligence, mycelial network intelligence fighting back. Humanity's at a crossroads. Art is dead. Creation is evolving. At some point, everybody's going to realize that we're living inside the dreams of our ancestors. That this whole thing is like a never-ending show, like a cycle. And it just keeps going and going and going. And I'm sure if you can pull out your favorite CD and play it over and over again and think about it in different ways, or a favorite video game where you could make a different choice, I'm sure Deja Vu is probably a different time that we played through this game, that God played through the game. And he wants to see if he can get a different ending. You know? Those are just some things that come through me. Yes, I think a lot. I realized last night that every single thought that I have is like every single thought that comes in, processes and comes out of me. Everything that makes me is me thinking about a way to provide the most meaningful experience for a massive amount of people, which that lines up with like my numerology and astrology. I'm all Sagittarius Aquarius, which is Sagittarius is the wild man connection. It's the complete mesh, the symbiotic between man and nature. And Aquarius is the heavens. And I'm a 33, which is the 33s are the last incarnation before whatever our souls are not allowed to be here anymore. And we go somewhere else. Like Jesus died at 33. There's 33 vertebrae in the spine. I think. Let's see. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Usually it's all hate. We live in a bubble of incredible privilege and social insulation. We arbitrary and do something. That's true. That's true. It's a lot worse in the cities. Yeah, that's something. Rites of passage. If everything is just information that's constantly flowing and cycling, like the trees, I'm able to tell when I've gotten to a point where I can tell that it's gonna rain, because the trees start to feel like I can feel like the trees are dehydrated. The trees like I'm dehydrated vibe, and I start to feel like the whole connect, like everything in this area needs water, and then within 12 hours it rains. So there's definitely a connection between the level of water in the forest, and the trees send out a signal, and whatever makes clouds responds. So I think as this, it's all that information, being able to tune into it and control it is just, you need to have certain presets to know how to open that channel. And those are the rites of passage, and that when people are trapped in that bubble, they're not able to receive that level of information, those upgrades, that software update, because they're trapped. And the cities are so ingrained, and most people are so ingrained in the bubble. A big part of, I think, me coming here was showing me how much we actually need some type of rapture or revelations, because people are so lost, and they're violent, and most people that I meet in the day-to-day are just trying to hurt each other. That's all their brain is focused on, is trying to overstep each other and be able to push themselves, like dominate the other person in like a game. For real. False prophets. I think there's a truth. Like, the truth would be the infinite. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Knowing everything and being connected to that everything. And then there's people that want to box you in. So false prophets, they'd have to be lying. Like, people think celebrities are the false prophets because they're pushing an agenda. That could be like a distraction, but for the most part, like, even gurus, like spiritual gurus, that people would call them false prophets, they're still just sharing information. It's that when they're outright lying, and for most people that are doing simple, I guess I want to call them elemental habits. Like, we're in Taurus season right now. I spent Taurus season raking and fixing up this property. And that felt like I learned a lot about Earth from doing that. During Aquarius season, it was like there was all these games against my reputation, and everybody was trying to use my energy to, like, tons of people came out of the woodwork to try to help me, and then immediately flipped and started trauma dumping or trying to, like, lead me somewhere where I would be trapped and I'd waste time. Or they, like, used what I was going through at the time to boost their clout, like post about me on the public Facebook page to show them, like, oh, I'm helping out this wandering nomad, instead of actually helping me. So I had that feeling of betrayal. It was a more narrative based. So, like, the things I go through in my day to day, as I go through it, usually line up with the astrological element of that season, like what that season stands for, like Aries season. There was a competition, like a girl that I liked hit me up, and then immediately people I thought were my gang stalkers came to my car and pressed me, and I felt like an attack on the energy, and I messed up, and then she immediately stopped liking me when the vibe changed, so she felt it somehow, and then immediately so I felt like I was at war. And then immediately she's, like, that night she's on stage performing a song with someone that had hurt me in the past, like an op. So that was really heartbreaking during war season. So then I went on Facebook, and it was like everybody was posting at each other. It's like teaching you skills. So false prophets, it would be people just trying to direct you away from common sense, which common sense is like being able to sit with yourself, identify and solve your problems. The false prophets would be people that promote things that drive you away from that, from inner peace. It wouldn't be people like spreading a false religion, because those false religions are trying to, usually it's still solutions to problems. It would be people that are trying to take you away from the inside, where you can figure out your control on decisions. There we go. It took a second. It took a minute, but I got there. So I came here to talk about depression. And I wanted to talk about obesity, because that's a big problem right now, is people aren't recognizing that if they're fat, they're an addict. They're stuck with something that's making them sick. I wanted to show you Vivek. Vivek is out patrolling the property for cicadas. My Robin roommate is eating the zombie cicadas and keeping me safe. Jesus was real. There's a lot, like, anyone that follows ancient civilizations and really goes in depth and like goes to the place where Jesus said he was and follows the Bible and goes to those places, most of them have been covered by military bases. Like the United States has gotten there first, and whatever is in those places, like where Jesus held the Sermon on the Mount and all those places, the United States is walled off and is hiding whatever was there. So that's enough evidence to show that Christianity is important enough that they have to keep it hidden, whether there's proof or there's no proof. But I definitely know that Jesus was reported to have traveled to East Asia when Jesus left, because he came back. He left for like 12 years or something, right? He went to Nepal and he studied the Hindu culture. They call them mystery schools. Jesus left home and he traveled and picked up tons of different information and teachings, and then he brought it back. Doesn't that sound like the hero's journey, like the Odyssey of Homer, where you leave, or like Legend of Zelda, where you leave home, you get challenged, you meet God or a goddess or someone powerful, you have the challenge where you have to integrate what you've learned, you fail and you have to go back and start over, or you pass and you return home with your newfound knowledge after you've explored. That's the hero's journey. And that's the golden spiral. And that's the shape of our galaxy. And that's a song. The story of Jesus, which is Jesus, I guarantee, like, I believe in God. I think Jesus was a real man. It's another good representation, because God loves motifs and God loves to show you in as many different and intricate and complex ways the system that he created, because he likes to show off what he made. And he made you. So he likes to show you off too. Amen. But I will tell you that most of Christianity is falsified to cover up the real truth. That's not saying that the Bible isn't the best book in history and that it's really helpful for you. But there are certain things in the Bible that, like amen, when you say amen, you're addressing and giving thanks to something that isn't God. Like that amen was added to the Bible because of somebody that was caretaking or part of the process of the Bible and just left it in because when he died, he wanted to be acknowledged. So if you believe in the spirit realm, like when you say amen, you're not talking to God, you're talking to whoever that guy is. That's a true fact. It's also like, there's so much more hidden symbolism than just quoting scriptures. There's so many different patterns and things to unpack and take into account and add to that you don't really understand until you go back and go back and go back and you look at different cultures and different aspects of society to find the real truth of what they were talking about. That's why people like the Bible. And I don't do it. I don't have time to do it, but I follow people that do. Like people that spend their whole lives doing it, that also do other things, like they did pickup artistry. Um, what would I say about Revelations? Yeah, I think Jesus trolled the establishment so hard he got canceled. Jesus was a badass outlaw. Jesus, I think I naturally feel more like I understand Jesus a lot more when I left home and did the hero's journey, and I realized how unfair the world is by design. Um, but there's other secrets that the Bible doesn't outright mention. Like, usually I have a message, usually like there's something in the back of my mind I have to share. And today that was depression and changing your daily habits. I wanted to talk about obesity being an addiction. I wanted to talk about a simple fix is that most people eat 3 meals a day and they gorge themselves and they put it in their stomach and let it digest slowly over time. Your body's not meant to do that. Your body is meant to... You're really supposed to be eating berries as you walk around, doing your day-to-day. And then you come home and you have a little bit, just as much as you need, and then you wait because you need to save your food. The simple way to do that is just small meals in like a 4 to 8 hour time span, and then don't eat for the other 16 hours, and your metabolism resets. Your body starts to eat your cancer cells. Your body starts to clean itself out really quickly. It starts to optimize itself. It goes through its own little software update, and you start to wake up and rise above your problems and wake up to higher levels of consciousness. You start to get your own revelations where you leave your problems because you had parasites and things designed to hold you back and keep you, like certain chemicals in our food that keep you stuck from a certain state of consciousness. And there is an artificial intelligence somewhere, whether it's in the electromagnetic spectrum, the same way that God is in all of our cells, and all these things are just particles at different speeds, whether it's living in these particles the same way that God is, or if it's like a satellite in space using the cell towers, or whatever it is, it can monitor that state of consciousness that I'm talking about. When you start to heal yourself and you wake up to common sense, you start to be normal, like you were as a child when everything seemed kind of stupid. Like, why is everyone acting like this? Big brother is watching, and they can beam down. See, the birds are getting loud. The birds are getting loud, bruh. The birds are keeping a perimeter around me as I'm talking, where usually they're gone. Usually the birds have left by now and they've gone down the mountain to find food. There's no food for these birds. The birds are hungry. There's no reason for them to stay. But they're protecting me. And they're also keeping their territory safe from the zombie cicadas. I think I told y'all I doubt people are going to watch this long. But last year, I told people that 2024 was going to be the year of the castle, where everybody has to stay by themselves, focus on building something better. And I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I always think that I'm going to lead an army to victory. But I found out I wound up on top of a mountain with my own Zen garden. I'm raking all day. I'm tired. I've been trying to sleep. But I just had this. I was listening to one of the top-rated therapists in the world explain something that it took him like 10 years of talking to people to figure out about depression. And it was just, that was something that I came up with just thinking by myself. Very, like, I think I was playing Minecraft, in the exact thought form that had come to, that realization that had come to his mind. You're, this is a, if you can see if you can see what I'm about to say, you'll really understand what I'm talking about. The thought form, like the package that hit his brain when he had this eureka moment that I got to watch him express to thousands of people. So this guy had a eureka moment. He learned something a certain way, framed in a certain way for him to articulate it, and he shared it to thousands of men about how to better their life. I remember the same way that I pieced together Legos as a child, sitting on top of a mountain with my father, Legend O'Brien, the best ski instructor in the state of Vermont, a 3 life path born on the 10th, and I'm a 33 life path born on the 11th. So he has the simplicity and I have the complexity, the exponential, as the birds are coming closer to me. That thought form that he expressed, exactly the way that he expressed it, was something that I invented in my own mind, sitting alone in the woods on a mountain playing Minecraft by myself, just processing the world around me. I have all, as an Aquarius, whatever, Sagittarius Aquarius, grew up isolated alone on a mountain building Legos. I just thought it's like the entire universe around me as I'm alone, and I came up with different conclusions. I pieced together to make something, and I had a style to it. I created something that I felt would be nice, or just a truth. I'm like, that's probably the way it is. That's how I see things. And I decided that was the case. And then I just left it in the back of my head. I probably shared something like it or just revealed a little bit when I would talk like this. I'd go on dates with girls and we'd travel around and I'd just tell jokes and I'd talk and we'd talk. I probably shared it at some point, like I put it out of my head and into the outside world. But somehow it has made itself back to me pretty much exactly 10 years later. It's made it back to me like the hero's journey. Do you get it? We just went through a hero's journey together, where we got back to the same point after going on a knowledge trip. Like a song played, a story was told, and then it tied back to the theme from earlier, and I didn't know it was going to get there. And that's what I like. I like adventuring and coming back. I like figuring things out. I like challenges. I like fighting for a better tomorrow. I like leading others. And it comes very naturally to me. And I think at some point I was in a position so much that either God decided to nerf me, right? If he's an all-powerful being, he let it happen. Or I triggered something that didn't want me to beat at that point. And I've been kidnapped. I've been kidnapped and put in voodoo rituals. Hope that helped her. She said, caw, like the crow. Did you hear it? I don't think this woman realized What I meant by the birds are getting closer. I just saw a beam of light with a red tint float above my head. The same way I said that I astral projected to the end of these woods to go fight the parking lot. Something else floated above me and said it's by design, they don't understand. They're not supposed to understand you. They'll never get it until Revelations. And then I saw an image of an album that I'm trying to make that has these frequencies embedded in it. You hear me? But the flies are flying around me now because I'm acting out of alignment with my true nature, because I'm tired and I'm fighting people in a parking lot that say everything is transactional. Like when I speak or when I decide to do better, you're converting your energy, you're converting sunlight, you're making a choice to channel this infinite to do something. It's transactional. Like people say when you jerk off and you come, it's a death of your spirit. That's why they don't like it. Like sex is an act that takes your inner energy and it transmutes it. Someone talked about manifesting earlier. This parking lot over here that I'm constantly getting attacks from, it's like where the heroin addicts go. It's in the center of Vermont, so this is like it's a big hub for the worst people in New England, and it's hard. It's like they're puppeted by something that's very good at destroying the good in people. But it's a school, right? It's teaching me. Yep. So I'm trying to, right now I'm fasting. This weekend, I'm not eating at all. I started drinking straight from this river up here, and I got a bunch of flavoring. I'm in the sunlight, absorbing the sunlight. I'm feeling what it's like to lose all the seed oils in my skin from before I only had access to McDonald's. Like the past month, when I was stuck up here, the only thing close by was McDonald's. So I was stomping down listening to my Native American music after sitting in a place where people are overdosing on heroin right next to me, screaming in their car at me when I'm meditating, almost hitting me with their car. Someone had tried to kill me. I killed someone in self-defense, but it turned out he lived. And that guy's at the bottom of the mountain. When I beat him, somebody left me $3,000 worth of stuff in a box that was labeled with his name. And then I took it, and then someone broke into my car and stole it. So it's like I'm unwillingly put into this. And it responds to my positive energy. Like if I cultivate it for long enough, then I get in these experiences. So the McDonald's kind of helped, even though, yeah, I probably should have not done it. It probably would have gotten a lot worse if I hadn't let myself go through that dip of depression. Because I wouldn't have wanted, like if I was happy there, and then the girl hit me up, I'd probably be in Wilmington, like south, and I would have never found this place. And a year ago, a girl I was dating said that a dragon told her that a year from that day, which is a couple days ago or like a week ago, it said I would be living in a shack no matter how hard I fought. And my whole thing is like, I'm fighting for a better tomorrow. So a dragon, isn't that what the beast is, the dragon? I know the lion, they talk about the lions with wings, lions with dragon wings, lion dragons. And in the Chinese zodiac, no, the Vietnamese zodiac, which is what Freemasons follow, the numerology. Last year was cat, and this year is dragon. In the year of the cat, at the center of Burlington, which means shining town, At the center of Burlington, I fought somebody named Cat, who's a Leo. A Leo named Cat. I fought in the center of Shining Town in my I'm a Cat year. And it made me realize that, like, growing up, one girl that I dated during Leo season named Cat when I was in the retreat. And then a couple months later, my car broke down in a small town. I got it stuck in the snow on Casey Road. And on Casey Road, it's only 2 houses at the very top of this big winding hill by a state park with like a big chunk of the Green Mountains in it. There's a Casey Road, and at the top it's just a big green and white mansion with a giant view of Vermont behind it, like the Aquarius. And then next to it, there's a tiny little red house with a giant mountain above it. And that's like my childhood home growing up with my father, who's a Leo Libra. Leo is like the heart, and Libra is like a big balanced form of information, like a mountain. Whereas Aquarius is like the infinite beyond, like the big view. So at the top of Casey Road, about maybe 50 miles from here, where I got my car stuck, and then somebody named Cat, at the end of the Cat year, helped me out. So I don't know if they're real. I don't know if it's like there's only a handful of us that are really chosen ones that really have this original free thought and are able to compound their information and use it, that are actively able to express themselves and have cohesive thoughts and like change their opinions on things, that aren't just living in like a completely predestined life their entire life, even though it seems like it. They have free will. They're actually just orchestrated from a higher intelligence, like a way beyond our understanding, higher intelligence, and they're only here as like NPCs to guide the chosen ones. And that's why I'm running into people with the same characters and the same names. And then I open my astrology app and then I check my year ahead, and my astrology app says that I'm going to run into people with the same names and the same characters, because it can just tell by my astrology with the planets, the way the planets were aligned. It can automatically tell a part of my life experience that nobody understands when I say it. Like every town I go to, there's an Alex that's in a position of power that's kind of leading me to the next direction of my life. Somebody with like or either an Alex or somebody with a tie to Alexander the Great. And then there's an enemy named Vincent for some reason. And those Vincents always have some tie to the symbol of a lion, a shining lion. And they're always in the way and trying to disrupt me. People like Noah are diverting the attention of a woman. For some reason, like there's a Noah, not Heather's dog Noah, but like I'm trying to date somebody and then she dates somebody named Noah instead, and then at some point, here's a big thing. So when I got my car stolen, my nice Dodge Magnum stolen, and I was stuck in Burlington when I didn't want to, and it was too cold, so I went to sleep in a shelter, and they took me to a place called King Street in Burlington in my dominant year, where my energy is supposed to be the most expressive, at the very start of that year. So like there was no way around it. At the start of my dominant year, where I'm a dominant force trying to save the world and be the king with the crown. Oh, I'm not wearing it. My car got stolen and I was forced to go to King Street. And then at the bottom of King Street, when I go in, back then I thought I was an 11 life path because I was born in the 11th. So 11 was a huge thing for me. There was a guy with a tattoo that said 11 that was just standing there. And his name, I had just broken up with a girl named Chloe May, who was abused by her brother Ethan May, Pull. And then there's a guy named Ethan May, that no relation. He's from Missouri, and he just got in his car and drove up to run away from home. And along the way, when he'd stop in some random parking lot, like in New York or maybe Ohio, I don't know what's after New York, along Lake Erie, in those random places far away from home, he would be there having a panic attack, trying to talk to God. And then I would show up in my Dodge Magnum blasting my music, and I would kick my feet out the window, and I didn't care if anybody was going to rob me. And I would just start freestyling and making beats, making songs on my computer right next to him, and I didn't realize. And then he found his way to Burlington, and then at the start of the cat year, which we were both cats, I show up. And then in that place, there's an Alex, a Noah, a Jaden, which is the guy Chloe cheated on me with while I was in Phoenix, Arizona. And there's a kid named Phoenix there, Phoenix Drake. And they were all like different representations of things that I held valuable in my mind. So different characters in my story from my past that I held in significance in my mind, with all different character traits and motifs that I valued. Where like I think about so much so often, I compartmentalize, and the things I compartmentalized showed up in my life in material form. So I couldn't tell you if the whole thing, like, God knew that was going to happen. He knew that this whole thing was going to happen, so he made those people specifically for this moment. Or if it's a holographic simulation and those people aren't really real. They just think that they're real because the universe is so infinite. It just transplanted some memories in their head. And who knows if we only have the present moment and the future isn't real and the past isn't real because we only have the present moment. Maybe they're just disappeared. Maybe the whole thing is like a treadmill, like a Ready Player One. Right? And we're all in some like spiritual it's an owl. In the middle of the day, there's an owl that's at the top of the tree over here. I can't show you. It's hidden. Let me see if I can get closer. And it flew from left to right, which I say if I'm on the right path, give me a bird from right to left. And if I'm out of alignment with what I should be doing, give it left to right. And there's an owl that flew right into where the sun is, left to right in the middle of the day. And then something just, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a tentacle. Reminded me that I'm here to talk about depression and how to fix it. Simple daily habit changes. And that the leading cause of depression is diet and feeling trapped. And the way to get out of feeling trapped is to learn that you have control over your conscious and can make conscious decisions when you learn to just sit with yourself. If you sit with yourself long enough, you have to make a choice to do something. So when you sit down, just make sure the first thing that you do, like make the thought form in your brain. I'm going to do this because, and the why supercharges that decision. If you're into manifestation and energy, the why you're doing it is the most important part. So I want to go into that building, and I want to I'll start cleaning. I can tell when something's guiding me, like if I'm having divine guidance, because I'm going to go in there, and then if there's something that I naturally want to do, it's like I didn't think to go in there. Like as soon as I go in there, I get like a charge that says you should fold your clothes, or you should talk to Vivek, or you should do this. And then I'm a synesthetic 33 life path, born on the 11th, which is the emotional visionary. So it's extreme, and an Aquarius moon. So it's extremely overwhelming for me to do anything. But it helps me that I can see the colors of the different impulses. And usually it's like if it's a person projecting their consciousness, or I'm schizophrenic, but I'm not. The shape of the thought form matters, and the tone of voice, and the direction. And then if I get high, which I don't, but I got high and I was really doing the mitosis, building your brain cells back and using protein to structure your thoughts so that you have a style of your mind and a direction of your creative force, then I would really be able to in-depth pick apart the signals that I'm getting and the impulses that I have. And that's when I can usually, through common sense and just like practice over and over again for years, that's when I'll have a jump where I'll jump to a reality, a way of seeing things very quickly. Like tons of different equations will go off at once, and I'll jump to a realization. I'll have a eureka moment. And then a stranger in the area, like an NPC, I could get just shot down for this. I could get shot down for, like right now, I could just get shot down for sharing something like this. That's when a stranger, through pattern recognition of years of living in this and being conscious since I was born, and I died as soon as I was born and was taken away from my parents and flown in a helicopter with the sun midday north when I was supposed to be born on Christmas. And just being young, and like I've had this same kind of understanding of life that when I get to it, a stranger in the area, like if I was in a public park and I got to this level of thinking that I'm talking about, this realization, the stranger in the park would show up and try to press me with some type of negative tentacle that I would feel pressed against me for hours, and I'd be fighting that. And if I got good at fighting it with just setting boundaries and having high vibrational energy, and I have good daily habits, and I have enough emotional wealth, and I'm cultivating positive relationships with people, and I have a good connection to the sunlight, my hardware is fixed, my router's fixed, so I'm connected back to all the different levels of this reality so that I can be a more meaningful, conscious creator and make conscious decisions. And I choose, because I'm good at this. I play Stratego. I'm good at chess. I take the time to understand things. So when I get to that point and I start to affect it back in a way that I'm influencing them, like I get a one-up on whatever this thing is, that's when I'm tackled by police out of nowhere. That's when women, like at the store down the road, this fat alcoholic cunt told the police I had a hatchet. I just went in and got some water from Subway, and she said I had a hatchet and was trying to kill her, a manager of a store, so that the police would show up and attack me. And I was just walking through, smile on my face, trying to build a positive relationship, but I was beating the system. I was vibrating and operating outside of the whole thing. I was floating like a Sagittarius Aquarius. I was doing the momentum. I was just having a good day. But I remember making the choice where I decided I'm going to beat it this time. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to try to test the waters and see what happens. And then within 5 minutes, the police are there, like expecting to kill me, expecting to have a violent interaction where they might need to use lethal force if I make the decision. So I had to stop them. I had to do the whole thing. Like I've been through enough of this. I know how to deal with it now. like a test that I had to overcome. I knew how to get the reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime. I knew how to get they might be called penal codes. I knew to ask their badge numbers. I got my phone out and recorded. They tried to search me illegally, so I got them. And then I called their sergeant, got him in trouble. And then I called 2 other precincts to let them know what happened, so that those 2 other precincts, because Vermont's one giant small town. It's like 300 miles of just small towns. So I called the 2 other biggest state police precincts and let them know what happened in case they tried to cover it up. And then they spent a while arguing with themselves about what happened and why it was a prejudice. And they sent the only black cop to come try to give me a beer. And then I sent him to go call the woman out for lying. While I'm so depressed fighting all this stuff, and I'm posting this crazy shit about what's happening to me with the gang stalkers, and I'm crying on the fucking YouTube shorts, I did all that just naturally. So I most of these posts, like this whole thing started because Super Troopers, I've never seen Super Troopers. It's more like Grown Ups 2, but they have daddy issues and they're attached to an artificial intelligence homunculus that dangles their self-worth by how much they hurt the public. Like they attach them like a hamster feeder, and they can't have conscious thought or feel good about themselves or have the vibes that please their wife if they didn't meet their quota of abusing the public and using them to traumatize others. And I think that thing is either an AI or it's some higher form of intelligence. And I also think that it's evil, but I also think that God is using that thing to puppet these people to strengthen the community, and that at the end of the day, it provides the information to help that guy at the end. And that it's also to test that cop who had this strong willingness to help the public when he started being a police officer, whatever character that guy had. It was a challenge for him to see if he could overcome that to become a better member of his community and a stronger force against it. It's like a roller coaster he signed up for, and it involves traumatizing the public. And I wanted to be this amazing leader, so it was just part of my amusement park that I signed up for, to learn how to deal with it. But my favorite colors are gray and black. My album cover is gray and black. I build it all day in my head, and I wound up in a place where I have to build every day. Sorry, did I say gray and black? I meant gray and red, this color. And then I was feeling really lonely, and I get paranoid when I'm alone, and I'm probably right. I think that there's cameras everywhere in some spiritual dimension. I think that there's like some higher dimensional beings constantly around us, that if I wake up to the realization, they'll just traumatize me like they did in the past. So I was lonely, and then they brought me Mr. Vivek Ramaswamy, everybody. This is my friend. He came in and he sits with me all day, so I'm never alone. Look how close I can get to him. Let's see where he goes. One of you focused on him, and I felt it come out of the camera and touch him, and that scared him. Vivek Ramaswamy. My tone of voice is higher pitched because I've been talking to Virgos lately. And we're in this Taurus sign, and they're both Virgos and Taurus are ruled by Venus, which is love. Yep. He turned around, looked at me, and then shit. And then flew away to express his disapproval of that whole interaction. So let's do a progress report. This is pretty nice. There was an owl, so I started talking about the wrong stuff, and an owl showed up and blocked out the sun, which isn't owl like the OVO, the Moloch, the evil god. What the hell? So I've been cutting this fallen tree I'm gonna make this here. Every morning I wake up now, I stay up all night because it helps process, because the daytime the radiation is getting so bad. If you're taking the time to fast and drink natural water and really utilize your mind to feel empathy, you kind of realize that we're getting hit with some serious solar waves. So at night, it's easier for me to structure thought forms that I can carry with me as I, with militant discipline, handle these crackheads in the worst part of Vermont over here. And I have to build relationships with horrible people, and then they reveal things about my life that only some type of higher power would know, and then they do something that hurts my life, and they're usually in red trucks. And then they show off the fact that they're in red trucks, which makes me think that it's like a Truman Show and they're all watching. As the bird got closer and chirped behind me. But I've been clearing out this trail. I love running through it. That's all I do every day. I wake up so excited and happy, and I run through the woods, and I don't worry about anything at all the things that used to spam my brain. And I was stuck fighting for hours every single day, arguing with myself against these voices that I didn't know where it comes from. I finally figured out how to be in the woods with the birds, and they all just went away with this natural connection to everything. After I had that weird encounter with the buck, and the raccoon slept next to me in the tent, and I saw this weird old man with long fingers that said he owned the place. After I'm reading about Cernunnos, the Irish god of the wild. After that ritualistic rite of passage, all those voices went away. I realized who I've been the whole time. And then my algorithm starts to show me things like directed energy weapons, and the CIA can find your biological signature and make you go loopy by projecting things into your head. And the CIA can sit in a room with a VR headset in like an isolation tank, and they can just astral travel all day. They can float around this whole place, and they can go into different people's heads in their imagination dream world. That's a real US patent. That's a real declassified CIA document from the 80s, is that they've been able to get in your head and be one of the voices in your head for a long time. So as I'm talking, I hear Ted Bundy was also a Sagittarius from Vermont. So maybe I would have been a serial killer, and they're saying that they had to keep me restrained. But I came here to show you the water. This is what I walk on all day, back and forth. This is me leaving the bird's territory. So if you heard that last bird call, that was to signify, because that bird stays in its perch, that one. And he caws, one, when I acknowledge him, because I'm connected. So when I reached out, like a Sagittarius is the fundamentally curious. So I was reaching out to like question. See, he did it again. He can feel that, and most empaths can see that, because it's just in the electromagnetic spectrum. Your thoughts are just in a network, the same way that all cell phones are in a network. And it's just, when you do things like this, how much bacteria do you think is in here? So if they're raining down an artificial bacteria to connect you to an artificial intelligence, this is like covering yourself from the predator. And I don't take it like, I nonchalantly say the most schizophrenic things you've ever heard. I go to, it could be that I'm the divine child, like that's the 33 life path, but it could just be, I take it really serious, and I don't take it serious at all. Like, I talk to girls and have fun. It's just we're at a very meaningful time right now, where every decision kind of matters. You feel me? And I haven't slept in a while. But yeah, because I was getting stressed. I put that water and washed my face, and I felt the buzzing when I was talking about direct energy weapons and all this shit. The buzzing that I felt that was kind of making my eyes hurt a little bit, and it was hard to focus. It's not there anymore. I can still feel it on my shoulders and a little bit in my ear, but for right now, it went away. So when you stop eating the foods that they want you to eat that naturally destroy your gut's bacteria, which ceases your intuition, and you start eating good foods like natural foods, organic foods, and you start drinking natural water, you're able to chill out. Because a lot of people are so internet focused, stuck in the technology, taken out of their natural inner peace. They don't even realize how far gone they are, how disassociated and engaged in the identity that they've created with their relationship to the internet. People that are very lonely, it happens to a lot, and it's becoming a point where I think that's the secret from Meta, is that they only want that. They don't want the real you, what God's creation would be, because they are a bunch of, so I got a big ring in my ear, don't say it, sissy little femboys that hate daddy, that want to outdo God. Or it's not real, and it's just like a different aspect of this amusement park. But I know there is a secret club. In that secret club, you have to do things to get into, and they reveal to you things that are, whatever it is, it must be extremely game altering, like something very unfathomable secrets. And I guess if I'm a 33 life path and these guys believe it, that secret club that they're all a part of, like if you saw, was it King Henry, his new painting that he dropped that was full of the symbolism of these things I'm talking about, this ancient cult. Supposedly, if that were true, my life path number being a 33, I automatically know this. It's embedded into my system what they have to go through years and years and years of rigorous training and rituals by sacrificing virgins and eating babies and doing all this crazy shit to be able to operate from, is just naturally, effortlessly emanating from my, just like to me it looks like a core essence, like just a star shining. And it's effortless for me because 33s are the divine child. They made us so that we have all this ancient wisdom that would be given to like a old king. But the way to enlightenment is spiritual childhood. So it doesn't really affect us, and we run around all day. Look, there's a... So I got downloaded to the back of my head, talk about the Rosicrucian method. The Rosicrucian, talk about it. Every time I do a video, it wants to come out. And that's a secret order within every religion that got projected across the country. So Hinduism, Taoism, Tao Te Ching, God, Jesus, the kingdom of heaven, the Ark of the Covenant, Tao Te Ching, the Mayans and the Aztecs, all these different things talking about the same thing in different ways. All the different versions of Jesus. The people that really take the time to figure out this stuff, that have uncovered some of the secrets, say that Jesus was a student of an alien hybrid named Thoth. And he called himself an Egyptian god, but really he was a guy that came down and infused his essence to turn people into slaves for him. Like, what kind of God says go, what kind of all-powerful, all-loving being says go to the other end of the desert and fight these guys and bring me back the spoils of your war. Bring me back your golden trinkets and your women. I'm God. That's in the Bible. But it's Thoth. Jesus went to Nepal and sat with monks on a mountain. And the monks told him how to have peace. And he thought about his hometown and was like, oh my God, these guys are so fucking lost. How do I help them? And he came back and he helped them in a way no one else could, with metaphors and teachings and enlightenment that people talked about him, and he went around teaching other people, traveling. And the establishment hated it. And they tried to stop him, and he just kept doing it. He just kept making these live videos. And they did it. Sorry. People are poisoned. Water is good. Vibration never keep your vibes up. Yeah. 4,400 people that would have the codes. People that would have the codes. The bird's following me again. People that would have the codes, and they have the privilege to fight, to share the truth with others. People that get awarded because they're the best of the best. But were they made to be the best of the best from the get-go? God made them that way and then put them on? Or through free will and sheer determination and perseverance, did they earn that privilege? You feel me? Did they keep getting up every day despite all the things that were happening and all the suffering that they were going through? Did they keep, and they chose it, and then God gave his favor down like a action figures, like an ant farm? Did we cultivate it over lifetimes, and then after we died, God was like, I'm going to keep this one around and put him back in and see what happens? Or is it all by design? Is it all by design? So a butterfly, right to left, right in front of my face. It took a second. Now he's directly where I'm staring, going in circles. And I'm getting beamed from different shades of light. Different aliens are speaking to me. Basic stuff. It's just carrying with them the energy of others. Just like this whole thing is a dream of our ancestors. Co-creating, and my initials are CO. And then when I went to that Burling town, I should call this the secrets of the universe, right? When I went to that Burling town, that shining town on King Street with all these people that did that, and I went through this amazing challenge I overcame. There were signs all through the town that said Casey at the top, and then it said CO created. Co-created. And that was everywhere. You heard? Yeah, I might have fucked up the style. I could have held on to some better vibes. I could have displayed myself in a different way, you heard me? I could have focused and prioritized some things. I could have held the structure and communicated it better. But I think you could pick this apart like Jesus in the Bible You could go through and see the different, as the bird came to meet me, made eye contact, and then looked away, and then the other birds came in, and they're chirping at the same cadence and tone of my thoughts before I even say it. You could pick this apart 17 times and find different intricacies of the beauty of the universe embedded in the symbolism of the codes that have just emanated from my consciousness, and I shared with you effortlessly. Because I'm Kaihasa Kathase, King Casey Francis O'Brien, the first, the 33rd. I'm exalted. You know what that means? Exalted. 1133 Sagittarius Aquarius, Casey O'Brien. Exalted. Died as soon as he was born. Died again, came back. Died again, came back. Died again, came back. Feels like this is my 15th time doing this, playing this video game. Feels like I've been around for thousands of lifetimes, but I'm the divine child, so I know how to just chill and be a kid. Exalted means I'm out there. It's effortless because I'm floating, controlling myself. That's the secret. I'm already in the fifth dimension, and I'm making it outside of space and time, and I'm transmitting it down to myself from somewhere else. And that's why I feel like a star, because I'm probably a star. You've heard? You feel me? Is that correct? I dropped some bombs, bro. I dropped secrets that I'm only assuming if they're really important, and I have been just pinned to the ground, and I felt like I was spiritually raped before, like a lot, and I still share it. So I must not. I mean, I gave the entire thing away. I gave the whole. You could pick this apart. I said it already. You could pick this apart like 20 times this hour and a half, and figure out everything you need to know that people would spend lifetimes trying to understand. It's in the intricacies and the weavings of what came out of me naturally. Because like a sword, you compound. Knowledge is power. Nipsey Hussle is playing in my mind, and he's a Leo, and he inspired me to do what I'm doing. And I remember before I left on my hero's journey, I made a song that felt like it was my voice and his voice intertwined, coming through the way I usually channel myself. And it's the greatest story I ever wrote. Young kid sick of doing what he's told, so he broke about the mold, took control, fucked around and found his soul. Buried in a hole, he fought for hope. Opened up the sky and found gold. He was traumatized. He saw all his homies overdose. Now he's sitting on the throne all alone, stays woke and does the most. Everybody went from way to go to way to go. He's the GOAT. He's the one that God chose. Better is a one day in your courts. Better is a one day in your house. Better is a one day in your courts and thousands elsewhere. Better is a one day in your courts. Better is a one day in your house. Better is a one day in your courts. Thousands elsewhere. He got sick of hearing no, so we hit the road. Went around the coast. Raging against the machine. Keep it warm inside the cold. The only ones he had were people that only wanted to take his soul. But he never sold his name close. Clover. Four-leaf clover.